Welcome back. We are on week 2 of November's Wellness Challenge, and we're still looking at gratitude. And what we're going to explore is this idea of when we let gratitude go, what we're doing is building on resentment and invoicing. So stay tuned and check it out. So let's look at some of the reasons we build resentments. We build resentments because of this idea of impact versus intention. There are many times where we don't intend to hurt people, but yet people were upset. And so it's very important for us to understand and navigate that a negative experience has happened. And so even though if it wasn't our intent, that we're able to be present on our side of the street, validate without agreeing, pivot with an I feel statement, and then setting a boundary statement. The point is not to get further and further defensive, because once one person is defensive, it will throw us into a defensive state. The point is to own our side of the street so that we can have present conversations in the here and now and not start bringing up the past, because that's what we'll do when we can't find the radical acceptance. When gratitude is a way thing that's fun to do once a year, but why do I have to bring it into my daily life? This is why. This is how you build meaningful communities and lasting relationships. And so I want to bring the traveler's awareness to this. Last week, we talked about being a tourist versus being a traveler. And bringing in the traveler's awareness is understanding that we need to be curious, that we want to know what our effect is in the culture around us and what the culture around us is having on an effect with us. Just wanting to be present and live our truth and our values around them. And so that's a little bit different than what we see. We see, get all the likes, make sure you're doing this. But what it means is when you have a small group, then you have a bigger opportunity to make a greater difference. But if you're trying to influence everybody and you're trying to make these grand movements, hoping that everybody likes you and everybody falls in line, your reduction happens, your invoicing happens, your resentment happens. Because we're losing ourselves and our values by expanding too wide. And one of the things I tell, especially my job seekers, but I'll tell this to anybody, any of my coaching clients, but definitely job seekers, is you go into something so anxiously that you want to spread your wings as far as possible, hoping that somebody will see it and see the value in you. But what changes in a job search, what gets you the interview, what gets you the job offer is personally leading somebody through your door to say, I am the person for the job. Hire me. And how you do that is you already know the job that you want. You know how you're going to fit in that position, and people want to naturally follow you. But if you're just kind of out there hoping somebody sees your value and you haven't found it for yourself, it's going to be a really hard sell because you have no idea what you're giving to them and they have no idea what they're receiving from you. So keeping a circle of trust that is small helps you to know what you want and how to stay intentional. And what it does is it prevents you from reducing yourself. It prevents you from just following along. It prevents you from building invoicing. The more decisions you make on your value, the more you get to make value-based decisions. And that's what this is all about. And the fourth key principle in all of this is understanding that silence does not equal safety. That keeping the peace and staying silent just to be, quiet because you're a good little girl, it's an implicit message that's out there for women. It is not going to make better relationships. It's actually going to hurt them. Hear me. When you are quiet, you will hurt the relationship, because what's going to happen is you're going to amplify at later times where you feel safe because you're so angry, you just don't care anymore. How many times have we done that? I'm so angry now, I'm at a point, I don't even care. I don't even care if they're mad at me now. It doesn't have to get there. It got there because you reduced yourself, because you resent the space that's being taken up, because you didn't own your side of the street. And we have a whole couples masterclass that's for relationships. I mean, I do make it for relationships, but here's the deal, is the lessons you learn in this masterclass, you will take it with you in every interaction you have. Because the key principle is that every interaction, we have to own our side of the street. We have to learn to negotiate our values. We have to be clear on setting boundaries because boundaries build relationships. The point is that silence is not going to give you what you think. It's a perceived expectation. Remember, when we're in a perceived expectation, we're in a negative dynamic. We're expanding and building on our reduction, which is causing resentment, which will cause invoicing, whether to ourselves because of avoidant behavior and building that negative narrative, keeping more and more invalid data points in check, or we invoice whomever comes that we feel safe with because we don't necessarily invoice the people we want to invoice. We invoice the people we feel safe with. So as you're yelling with somebody and you're getting in the fights, you say, isn't it great? Here's some gratitude. Isn't it great that I feel so safe with you? I just put all my crap on you. But it's true. There's value in everything. There's a reason we do everything. Behavior is predictable. And a part of that is making sure that you realize why you're present and when and why are you not present. Get to this place because here's the deal. Repair is not an event. It's not an event. We don't just say, man, I'm so glad I got off that one. That one was hard. I don't want to do that again. It's being present every day. It's showing up consistently, owning your side of the street, getting curious, opening up a space for others and for you to have that interaction with others. That's what builds great relationships. Two individuated people who come together intentionally to have a shared experience. That is what a healthy relationship is. It's not one that lacks arguments. It's not one that is kind of yelling and screaming and kind of saying, well, I wouldn't care, I wouldn't yell. That's not a healthy relationship. It's one where you have disagreements. You may escalate for a time being, but you take that time and space to calm down, own your side of the street, and then repair quickly as you find a resolve and understand each other on what is happening, what happened there that made us lose a sense of presence, coming back to what our values are and intention for the relationship, and immediately addressing the problem together. That is a healthy relationship. I want you to focus on a couple of key aspects. I want you to notice, when are you invoicing? Where are these implicit reductions that are happening in your day-to-day lives that is building a sense of resentment? Feel it. Sit with it. What does it look like when you have these reductions and these resentments? Look at your impact and intention. Are there times where it seems like a negative dynamic is spurring and it wasn't your intention to get into that? What does it look like to get into it, and what does it look like to get out of it? And I want you to take that traveler's awareness by understanding that there's a ripple effect when it comes to relationships and the interactions that we have on others. What does that circle of trust look like? Are we setting intentions and purpose for what our values are? Or are we just bumping into life, kind of hoping that everything works out? And so as we're looking at it this week, I want you to take home this mantra, that I am responsible for my impact, not just my intentions. That I create space for honesty even when it's uncomfortable. It's a big week. Go down, look at the worksheet. We've got lots of reflection questions. We've got high-end learning, and we've got some things for you to do to apply into your day-to-day in order to go through the week. Remember, it's not about doing all the things. It's about doing one thing. Start with 5 minutes, try to build to 20 over the course of the month. But we are here to support you, so put some questions in, get the comments rolling, and start growing together.